I'm Andrew Patterson from interest.co.nz. Welcome to another in our Business Success series. With me today, Matt Cashmore, General Manager for Zags. Hi, Matt.
Hi, how are you?
Matt, tell us a bit about the history of Zags, because this is a business that started out as a good idea, one assumes, and has sort of grown fairly rapidly since then. What's some of the background facts that enabled it to come to life?
Well, Mike Gardner, who's the current CEO and founder of the organisation, started the business back in 1991, I guess off his own perceptions and thoughts and ideas as to what the ag market needed from an animal tag perspective. He then started the business with what we call a one-piece tag, sold it into the US back in 91. To this day, that tag still exists and is testament to the ideas and innovations, I guess, that Mike brings to the business, and does so even through today. So, and that's very much the foundations of the business. From there, it grew not only in the US but into Australia as well. Purchased the distributorships in both countries during the mid-2000s, and that's the way the business is structured today. It's grown obviously from being a one-piece tag to a product range that we think covers the entire market and all animal sectors within it. And critical to that is the innovation and I guess the entrepreneurship that Mike brings to the business, flowing through those products and applicators.
Was this a New Zealand idea, or had there been other livestock identification systems around?
There's other systems and competitors, if you like, in the marketplace well before us. Who still exist today, but from Ztag's perspective, Mike had an idea in terms of a niche in the market, and was good enough to design a product that fitted that niche, fitted the market, and as I say, today it's still in existence worldwide now.
And of course, we forget these days, but perhaps farming is an incredibly sophisticated business, isn't it? And the tagging system is integral to being able to identify animals. Just give us a bit of a sense of where the role it does play within livestock management.
Well, I guess it's come a long way. In the early days, was really a plastic tag with a number on it. And the farmer would go up and identify that animal through the number and presumably have some register somewhere in the back at the shed or whatever. Now,
probably in a written format.
Yeah, in written format. Nowadays with internet, RFID particularly, that's all radio frequency now and done electronically. So yes, the plastic tag still exists in terms of a number, typically in the other ear from the electronic tag. But with the advent of readers and the technology around that, as animals go through a race or come into the dairy shed or whatever, in terms of movements, those animals are recorded, and then on the database that the farmer holds, he can put whatever information he requires or wants to. Fair to say though that there's some sectors where technology is still to be taken up. Sheep, for instance. Outside of, in my personal view, outside of stud farmers and the very high end type operation, you still see a lot of animals that have no tags in them at all. So there's still some way to go in terms of that. That's also being supported by the statutory regulations now in cattle from July last year in New Zealand, and deer from March this year. It's mandatory to have an RFID tag in the animal.
And this is all part of being able to, identify animals from a biosecurity point of view.
It's mainly around disease control, so or traceability. So if there's an outbreak of, say, foot and mouth, which of course we hope there isn't, then there is the ability to trace that animal back to farm to understand where that animal came from, and if there is a disease outbreak, to shut it down.
So has this been good for business, the legislation that effectively requires everybody to have an identification system now?
Many would think so, but what it has meant is that some of the mandatory requirements that existed before around having a number tag in the other ear is no longer. Mm-hmm. So in some cases we've lost one tag and gained another one, so that the net effect is zero. But I think it's good for the industry to have controls in place around this, because if there is disease or some other reason to trace animals, then this is the system to do it. And we see on TV now the traceability from animal right through to plate, as it were, in terms of some of the supermarket advertising. Then this is the mode of transport for that information.
So what are the unique selling points around Z tags? I remember from my own days when I used to sort of work during my holidays on a dairy farm, you'd always have a problem with some of the tags fading and the sort of things. You couldn't sort of read them well. So obviously technology has been able to deal to that sort of problem over time.
Yes, absolutely. There's, New Zealand has a very harsh climate, as we all know, so the impact of UV is still alive and well, and so technology in terms of labels, technology in terms of inks, and the plastic in the tag has come a long way. So yes, we're through those sorts of issues. But the unique selling points of Z tags are mainly, in my view, around the innovation. So that's not only the applicators in terms of what you use to apply the tag, but it's also in the tag itself. So our applicators, for instance, have snap-back arms, so you can't pressure the air or bruise the air as you tag the animal. The arms snap back so that you as the applicator or the person applying the tag is free from the animal is free from you and the tagger, so it can't be hurt. It eliminates ripped ears and aids retention. And retention is the key thing. I mean, you have to have the tag remaining in the ear at all times, otherwise there's an expense to replace it and you've lost the ability to retain that information. In the tag itself, there's a lot of patented material in there. The way we do things is quite unique and protects, in an RFID space, protects the chip from being damaged on application. So we know when it's read out of our installation here and read before it goes on property that it's going to continue to read for years to come. So there's innovations like that that are confidential to the organisation, but are unique to the way we do things here. And are well respected in the marketplace. I think it's I wouldn't be wrong in saying that the competitors and market alike suggest that we are leaders in the innovation field of applicators and tags.
And this is all protected IP, patented?
Yes. Yes. Where we can, and we have strategies in place to ensure that is maintained. And as we bring new products onto the market, we ensure that we're doing things that aren't easily copied, and we protect what we believe is innovative to the industry.
We know obviously New Zealand is a major agricultural producer, so there's plenty of business for you here, but actually it's only a relatively small percentage of the overall total of the business. Yeah,
I mean, we sell in 49 countries around the world. Outside of Australia and US, we have a number of agents and distributors. So yes, we are a global organisation. But we're very proud of our heritage being New Zealand owned, and unfortunately, I guess many people in New Zealand still don't know that, so we're trying to push that message out there. But New Zealand is relatively small in the worldwide scale of things, and we're pushing forward with those boundaries, and we've got plans in place to do that more.
The US is a big market for you. Have you had to adapt the technology much for the markets that operate? Were you outside of New Zealand, or is it effectively a one-size-fits-all situation?
Oh no, there's different products for different markets. In the US, for instance, there's not so much RFID, but that'll happen. And as that takes off and as the market accepts it, then it's obviously there's obviously new products, but ways of I guess reading that data may be slightly different. Technology will be different. So yes, there is an element of being a little bit, designing a product and solution for that market, but underlying that, then yes, it's pretty much the same.
The US obviously offers huge growth potential and opportunities, or is that considered a fairly mature market for you now?
No, I think there's growth in all markets really, and technology's showing that with the advent of RFID. So the US will be no different from that. As I said before, we sell our one-piece tag there as we started back in 1991. We've got a full product range right through cattle, deer, sheep, goats, pigs. So there's lots of those animals in the US. So we would expect to be at the forefront of that growth as well.
How do you manage the innovation process? As you said, it's competitive. You are considered the market leader. So how do you maintain that position?
Well, we have a R&D team, dedicated team here in the business. Mike Gardner, the CEO, basically leads that team, and through a process of really having a large funnel at the front end and a skinny funnel at the bottom in terms of what ideas actually get put through to the market. It's a very robust process, and it goes through a timeline that covers off trials and all sorts of things to make sure that the product is indeed, one, innovative, and secondly, works and meets the market. So the process that we've now embedded is very good, successful. And last year we reintroduced our pump action sheep tagger, for instance, which came through that process and has been well received in the marketplace.
So you must interact closely with farmers, obviously, because obviously they drive the output.
Oh, well, customer is king, and the business is very customer focused. It's all well and good having innovations, but if they don't work or don't meet the market, then no point in having them. So our sales team, our technical team, our R&D team are liaising with the customers all of the time. We have very, very close relationships to ensure that not only our current range meet their requirements, but also what we are doing in the future does so.
Where does the potential lie for the business in the future? And what sort of targets have you set yourself from a growth perspective?
Oh, well, we've set some fairly audacious goals, particularly in the financial side of the business, to really drive our growth, and we're all for setting those audacious goals and making sure the plan's in place to achieve them. Now, that might be in current market in New Zealand, that might be global expansion, but we're very keen on growing the business and growing exponentially. So we're gearing up with people on the ground to do that. Technology in terms of production, all those sorts of things are moving in tandem to ensure that we are capable of meeting the market and really driving some of that growth.
Everything is produced in New Zealand and exported?
No, we have some facilities in the US, Australia, here, and a little bit further offshore. But most things are at least assembled here. Our applicators are all handmade. So we're very proud of what comes out of here, but not totally.
And just finally, what excites you about the potential for this business?
Well, having recently joined the organisation, I was and continue to be hugely excited about the potential of the organisation in terms of its culture, particularly its innovation. Its products are fantastic, and it's great to be associated with an organisation that is recognised in the marketplace as having leading innovative products that are so easy to use. So that's hugely fantastic, and the passion within the team here is incredible. So that's I don't think you can ask for more than that. And the marketplace is changing all the time. There's plenty of opportunities both here and offshore. We're going to ensure that we're in the right place to capitalise on those. Statutory changes, that's always going to happen, and we just got to ride with those punches and make the most of what we can. But fundamentally, the organisation's in a great spot. But we're not resting on our laurels, and we're pushing hard ahead.
So, Matt, this is a business that has been around for 20 years and is still kind of, I guess, pushing that innovation envelope, recognising that the nature of agribusiness continues to change.
Yes, the business is in great shape, and innovation is the core of the business. And in my belief, having products and I guess culture of the business at the quality end of the spectrum is something that you must cherish and not give up. So our organisation is certainly mindful of that and challenging the boundaries in terms of growth, but all the time with customers at the centre of what we do, underpinned by the quality of our products.